South Jersey bad boys.
Sound like a church hymn almost.
Yeah, not very good one.
Yeah. You can definitely be seated for that singing. That was not a standing kind of hymn that they did. They did the ones where they didn't really give a shit. They're like, we just got to run out the clock here.
Yeah, that was a white church where it's really boring. People pass out. They're falling asleep.
Oh yeah, people just go there once a week to think that they're going to be the next American Idol. But
Black church seems fun. Like that seems like a church I would go to.
Yeah,
have you ever been to Black church?
No, not a black.
Not recently.
Not recently. No, it's been a little bit since my last confession. But those Baptist churches, they get bumping. I mean,
well, yeah. What is the difference between Baptists and Catholics? And
I think all of that is under Christianity, but different sects of it.
Different
sects of it.
Different sexy versions of Christianity.
I couldn't tell you what the differences were, but I know that common one where you see everybody up in the air, like going crazy, like party. I think that's Southern Baptist.
Right.
Now, how that differs from Northeastern Baptist, I'm not sure.
I think they all just have different facts about Jesus that they believe to be true.
Yeah, whether or not he came back from the dead or, something like that. Right. Or one little misstep he might have taken. Like there's a whole group in a different area, dark corner of Christianity we've never heard of that believes that he was very well involved with the prostitution rings in Jerusalem. And
like that was his main gig.
Yeah, that was his. They were like, no, we believe that he was just, he was a pimp by day and he did this prophecy stuff after. Like there's a whole religion for that. And that's the one that I'm a pastor at on the weekends.
So it's really just all these different religions of how they spin their own tale of Christianity.
Yeah.
Like, this is how we interpret it.
Yeah.
And I think that he just was a very loving guy. He got along with everybody, even prostitutes, and other people. Like, no, he was banging those whores. He was doing that Jesus stuff on the side.
Or it's just a group of people that just really believe in the stepdad kind of culture and that he fathered multiple people. It probably just gets really down some far rabbit holes.
Yeah, I heard he was out banging Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. I heard her, and then she actually was the one who put him up on the crucifix when she found out he was sleeping with her best friend.
Who was that?
Whoever Mary Magdalene's best friend was.
Really?
I think her name was Jamie Lynn. And it was a real trashy situation. They went on like a modern day version, not a modern day. It was more of a ancient version of Jerry Springer.
Oh.
But one of the disciples led the show. I forget was it Judah maybe?
It was Judah who led the show.
Yep, and they just like you had to get your Judah beads, and by doing that, you just start chanting Judah, and you take off your robe.
Well, those guys all traveled like a band, and like you know, Jesus was good with the ladies because he had abs.
Yeah,
he had the sick abs with the V.
Yeah, and he was what 34, 33, 34, still rocking an 8-pack,
and he was basically just doing live magic.
Yeah.
You know, he was the first hot magician that was out there like, okay, oh, you think this is water? But it's wine. He's like, oh, you see that water over there? I'll fucking walk all over it. He was just doing street magic.
Go out and moonwalk all over that.
You thought that was crazy when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk. Imagine seeing Jesus walk on water. Like, that's not a panty dropper.
Yeah, the very first time. Now, they were in the Middle East, so there's
Talk
a lot
about
of
wet.
They, of course, were historically in the Middle East where there's a lot of opium poppies. Yeah. So who knows what people were smoking and seeing.
Yeah, I actually did hear that there's a conspiracy or interpretation of that. Like the burning bush was an ayahuasca or like sort of situation. I don't know what ayahuasca is, but like
sounds like it's something like
a bush that churned out some drugs.
Oh, yeah. And they inhale it.
And you would get high. And that was actually Moses just was high on DMT or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm completely speaking out of my
ass. He's like, I'm going to part this Red Sea here. Whoa. What do you think he was standing in front of? Like a YMCA full of seniors trying to do their water aerobics? Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to part this fucking sea.
He thought he was in ancient Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy's name was actually just Rob. And he lives in a 55 and older community in Mount Laurel.
But he wrote it down and it became a pretty sick story.
Yeah, it was a sick fucking story. Like Robert Frost couldn't have written anything better than that, and it just they carried on with it, you know.
Yeah.
So
Moses was he was a pretty crazy guy.
Yeah, he was just releasing.
He murdered somebody.
Really?
Yeah. Did you? I mean, I grew up the Catholic faith. So I know a little bit about this stuff.
I would just read the footnotes on a lot of these chapters.
One of the things I remember was there was a slave owner, and he like whipped somebody, and then Moses goes up and kills him.
Really?
I think sort of accidentally, but then once he murders the dude, he feels really bad about it, which goes to show in the Catholic faith, you get a mulligan for everything.
You get a mulligan.
You get a whoops-a-daisy. You go, God, that was on me. Now I know.
I was gonna say, like, you get a mulligan on everything, or it takes a lot for you to be really
just
seen
say
as
sorry.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about being Catholic. As long as you just go to confession and say whoops-a-daisy, God's like, get back out there,
whoops-a-daisy. Uh-oh, I made a boo-boo on that one. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
So, man, well, that's good at least.
You can actually be an asshole. According to what the Catholic Church teaches, you can be an asshole your entire life and be a huge sinner and murder people and do whatever you want. But before you die, as long as you repent and say sorry, you are absolved of your sin.
Yeah, right. As you're on your deathbed.
Why not do it that way?
Yeah, that seems like the more like straight line to your destination kind of thing, A to B.
Then you say sorry, you get to heaven, then you get two parties. Do whatever you want on earth and do whatever you want in heaven.
Yeah, and you just go right through. You can right then and there on your deathbed. You just got to be like, hey. You got a minute? It's like that friend of yours that like wants you to buy something from their wife's Monat subscription. You know, like the one we were talking
with the sales on that.
Oh, it's going good. It's going good. I actually hit it big over in a retirement home.
Nice.
Yeah, they lifted the COVID restrictions, which means I got in there with my face cream.
So lucky, you got such a hookup.
Yeah, dude. And it's not even real face cream. It's just some leftover mayonnaise with some dog drool in a bottle.
Whatever you got to tell these old pieces.
Yeah, it just smells natural. That's the aroma. It's definitely not my dog's milk bone and shit breath. Wow. Yeah, so lift the COVID restrictions, which means I'm lowering my expectations of life and everything else, and I'm going to sneak on in.
You know what they say in sales, though? ABC.
ABC.
Always be cashing the fuck out.
Yeah.
Even if it's at the expense of in old people's home that you're selling mayonnaise to and spinning it off as face cream.
Yep. And that's, they only got limited time left too. So,
well, honestly, I respect your hustle and I applaud you.
It is a hustle. I'm a boss babe out there working the streets of South Jersey. Just hitting up Salem. I use a million hashtags in all of my posts talking about how my life has been better. So, continue. Between that and the videos of the lawn edging that I share daily now, I mean, There isn't anything better that could just possibly be rejuvenating me full of life every single morning.
Yeah, dude. I could sit there and watch landscaping videos just over and over again.
If I could just find a group of landscapers that would have let me attach a GoPro to their weed whacker facing down on the curb.
That'll get you off for a
while. I wouldn't be able to control. I just have the shivers nonstop. I just be sitting here like, and it's just, oh man, I'm gonna have to. Jesus,
I'm gonna have to shoot.
Just thinking of that, I was like, oh my god, a GoPro would go perfectly on a weed whacker.
Yeah. Yeah, there is something very satisfying about once you become a homeowner, seeing shit done to a house or a yard.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh man,
just watching it, and then you go out there and you try and do it based on what the video tells you, and then there's one slight thing that's a little different, and you just lose your fucking shit. Yeah,
completely fuck it up.
Oh god, I almost did that to my roof. It's a whole fucking
lot
thing.
Easier in the video. Yeah. Shut up. Okay, it's working.
Yeah, you got to scream at your wife while somebody else is coming down your. Yeah, it's none of that is ever on this old house. You don't see any curse words or issues they run into.
No, you don't. You don't see the behind the scenes.
No,
which gets real feisty.
It does get really feisty. There was actually something
you're
that
working all day and you're fucking stressed out, and you're just like, I think that's hung up a little bit crooked. And you're like,
yeah,
I'm gonna fucking lose it.
I'm gonna fucking lose this.
I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna take a nap for 3 days because I'm so tired. My back was just thrown out.
Yeah, and then while you're thinking of all that, you just accidentally get a staple gun right to your thumb into the drywall.
But it's an investment.
It's an investment. Yep. Just that live, laugh, love. Yeah, that live, laugh, love photo just needed to get on the wall in that exact location at that exact time before all of your hooker friends got over here at 3 3 p.m. on a Sunday to drink mimosas.
Oh, brunch is brunch.
Yeah, you can't brunch without a live, laugh, love slogan above your head.
Yes.
You know who did a little too much living, laughing, and loving is this woman.
Let's go to our weekly segment of what's going on in South Jersey.
Yeah. I wish this was in South. This is South America, close enough.
Read
Very similar tastes, I would say. So the headline is "Dead Woman Bangs on Coffin to Say That She's Alive During Her Own Funeral."
Okay, she does not look dead.
No.
Like in that picture. Is that after she came to?
I think that was, I guess, before.
Funeral in Peru was dramatically interrupted. I'd say that's a little dramatic. If you're at the funeral and the person's not fucking dead.
Dramatically interrupted after knocking was heard.
Dramatic or hilarious.
The family of Rosa Isabel something had gathered in a city of something to pay their final respects on April 26th. Rosa had been involved in a serious crash on a road. The accident claimed the life of her brother-in-law and left her nephews with serious injuries. She pronounced dead following the crash, later loaded into a coffin ahead of her funeral. But when her relatives hoisted the wooden structure onto their shoulders, they began to hear strange sounds. They lowered the coffin and opened the lid to find a weak but very much alive Rosa peering up at them. Here's
what they leave out, though. They said she had been pronounced dead following the horrific crash and later loaded into a coffin ahead of her funeral. How much later? Did they have a funeral set up for her that day? Because, was she sitting there for a couple of days, a week, and they thought she was? How is that possible?
I don't know what the practices are in Peru normally, but
maybe she was in a coma.
There had to have been something strange because, I mean, even the lack of oxygen that she would have in there,
right?
Even if she was on ice in a mortuary, which I don't think they would do in Peru, but this must have been a different culture to the point of where they did a funeral the next day or the second day after that or something.
Imagine the person doing the makeup on them. It's she's just fucking asleep.
It's wouldn't you feel some of the breathing?
Imagine if they're doing that and she opened her eyes halfway through. It's what the fuck?
Oh, man. Well, just looking at that photo, it doesn't look like she had much makeup applied. I hope, man, what a...
and then what do you do from there? Do you get out and just go, all right, guys, funeral's canceled. Everybody head home. It's a false alarm.
You know what I would say? I mean, how do you get your money back from the funeral home after this?
Right.
You know what I would say after this? I would
keep the coffin. We're going to save it for later. Keep the coffin. We don't need it. Guys, anyways, that's on us. That's on us. We thought she was dead. We got some bad information. She looks great, honestly.
You look beautiful. Just like at the wedding, hon, you look beautiful.
She's like, I was sleeping. Do I look like that much of a piece of shit right now?
Yeah. How about this? To make up for it, on our way home, we'll take you over to get a Rita's water ice.
Go down. Does it say anything of what happened
The cemetery caretaker, Juan Segundo, said she opened her eyes and was sweating. I immediately went to my office and called the police.
Has that ever happened before? I guess in the history of mankind, I'm sure that
people being buried alive. That's where the slogan or the phrase "saved by the bell" came from. Is that they would put a bell with a string that would go down into the ground so that if you were alive, you could ring it.
What time period was this where people were not 100% sure if you were dead?
That was big during yellow fever. When was that? 1800s?
Wow,
early 1900s?
Not that long ago.
I learned about that when I was in Savannah, Georgia, because that's one of the most haunted cities apparently in the country, and that happened a lot. So they buried people, and because there was so many people dying from yellow fever, they would make mass graves, or they would just throw people. So a lot of times people ended up being alive, and they were underground, and they could pull on this thing, and a bell would ring on the surface, and people could hear it and dig them up.
Whoa, that is creepy.
Yeah, but I would just come out of this supposed funeral and be like, which one of you motherfuckers shared the photo of me in a coffin and shared it with the Daily Mail so that now the picture of dead me is all over the internet?
She as soon as somebody snapped a picture, she just popped up like the Undertaker. And she was like, who the fuck tried to kill me?
Yeah.
Wow. They've expressed outrage at healthcare bosses at the fact she was declared dead in the first.
Oh my God. In America, do you know how much a hospital would make off of death of one person by saying, yep, declared them dead. That'll be $27,000, please. It's a part of the insurance. And then she's not actually dead. Oh.
Wait, and then it says she died. Wait. So once there, relatives rushed Rhoda still in her coffin to the hospital. Once there, Rosa was found to have weak signs of life and was hooked up to a life support machine by medics. But her condition deteriorated, and she tragically died just a few hours later. Her family, who had to say their farewells twice, are now demanding answers.
So
she wasn't dead. Then they rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late because they've been letting her sit soaking in the sun.
Oh my God!
Hours.
This whole thing. I was so emotionally invested into this and her newfound life after everything, and now it's just like, no, just kidding. She actually died later anyway. So we had 2 funerals for the price of one.
Just a 2-hour delay.
Yeah,
man,
it's a little BOGO offer at the. It's like, okay, we fucked up the first time.
Who fucked that up, man? I mean, multiple people. Whoever pronounced her dead. Yeah, the hospital people. That is.
You know what we should do? We should jump into this, like, if this were to happen in like Deptford. So we're at the like, what's a good like funeral home name for a South Jersey? You know, it's like
Ralph's.
Like I was thinking
Ralph's funeral.
Ralph's funeral and
Ralph's
more.
Dead bodies.
Ralph's funeral.
If you're
and more.
dead and you need to be buried, dude, we got the prices for you. Come on down to Ralph's where we got the sickest coffins.
We got the sickest coffins
for the sickest people. That's why they're dead.
You should go through the price of your coffins as if you know.
Oh, we'll give you 2 for 10.
Yeah, 2 for 10.
2 for 10. You got a buddy that's died? Hook him up with the coffin. Bring the whole family down here. We'll get you pre-made.
Is it a buy here, pay here? Like, what's the credit system?
You can pay as you go. As you know, if you're not dead yet, but you want to get ahead of the game, you start paying in installment plans, and then once you're dead, you just pass it on to whatever piece of shit has to take care of that for you.
Yeah, you better have a savings account hooked up then.
And we'll shake them down if they can't pay for the full thing. We will find you.
So let's say I come to you with my Aunt Darla, and she wasn't the worst person, but she exactly wasn't a glowing example of a human.
Darla sounds like a piece of shit.
Yeah. She smoked a pack of Virginia Slims a day. She would eat her Wawa hoagie off the trash can lids outside of the one over on 73. God. One of those kind of aunts. She actually gave me counterfeit money in a birthday card one year.
Really?
Yeah. So let's say I'm bringing Aunt Darla to your funeral home, over to Ralph's funeral to go, and I'm trying to get some prices.
Cool.
I'm trying to price out these coffins, and Aunt Darla wasn't really a Lexus kind of gal, but she also wasn't a Ford. So like, what kind of options are we looking at?
Well, first things first. Thanks for bringing her in, because I took one look at this broad and I said, this girl is gonna go any second. She looks like shit. Darla, let me tell you something. We need a premier coffin for somebody of your stature and for somebody who has accomplished so much, and by so much I mean eating hoagies in the Wawa parking lot.
I'm also imagining her already dead, but like I have her propped up right here.
Okay, sort of a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
Yeah. You talk to her as if she's alive, but she's very cold.
Yeah, for some, somebody like this, I would say I can cut you a deal for $50.
Well, now we're talking.
You can get a little self-made. It might be cardboard, but they're sturdy.
Yeah. And you don't need to do any makeup to her or anything. I'm a Monat boss babe. So.
All the makeup in the world ain't gonna fix this bitch's face. I'll tell you what. Darla, she smoked a lot.
Not just cigarettes either.
Not just cigarettes. She might have been hitting the old pipe. Yeah.
Right.
Every orifice.
Yeah.
Not a word. But that broad is going in the ground. For the good.
I like to think that Ralph's doing this at such a low discounted rate because he met Aunt Darla years ago behind like a competing funeral home.
He probably
like
was.
O'Shaughnessy's or something like that. And that they met like
old Shag Hennessy.
Kind of the old Shag and Hennessy. Just like the what's the Wedding Crashers? Yeah. Where Will Ferrell's character goes to funerals.
The chicks are so horny.
Yeah, that's what Ralph would say.
It's like fishing with dynamite. Yeah. He's like, I just go down, the Alcoholics Anonymous, the smokers, those ones are the first to go, and I just pinpoint them, and I find somebody like Darla. I've known her for years now. It's only been a matter of time. As soon as I met her, I knew the clock was ticking.
Yeah,
and she held out longer than I thought, but here, I always, I knew she would always wind up here.
Yep. Now she is.
She looks like shit.
Just like she was always known that she was a real piece of shit too.
A piece of shit. That's why we're putting her in a cardboard box.
Cardboard box in the ground.
Yeah. So it'd probably go something like that.
It would go, something along those lines, which I think is perfectly acceptable.
Yep.
Now this isn't a story from South Jersey necessarily, but one that I wish was
really important.
We always find on this podcast, we're known to get the most hardest hitting news, topics, conversations that people are having in their homes around the dinner table every night.
Yeah.
That's what we talk about in here. And that's why this story really touched both of our hearts. A gorilla that was addicted to smartphones is having his screen time cut so he can spend more time with his fellow gorillas and learn to adapt. Is this something you support?
This could be like an Onion article if you just replaced the picture of the ape with just like an annoying, bratty kid. Like, gorilla won't put his phone down so he can play with his gorilla friends.
Yeah. This gorilla named Amare is having screen time cut after he became so addicted to staring at a phone screen that he didn't notice when another gorilla charged him.
Wow.
It would be like you sitting at home and you're getting your screen time cut because you didn't notice some guy was running up with a knife to stab you. And because you were playing Candy Crush.
I get it, though. The amount of stories I have missed Sam tell me because I'm looking at my phone. And you wake up halfway through and you're like, holy shit, how long was I out? These phones are, an issue.
And you know what adds to the issue? They say that Amare, they call him a resident. He's a gorilla in a zoo, and they say a resident at Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo.
Addicted to zoogoers showing him countless pictures and videos through the glass divider of his enclosure. Oh, so people were just showing him the phone, and then they eventually got him one?
His addiction to smartphones is having a screen time cut so he can spend more time. The problem became so bad, they had to put a rope up to keep people back from the glass partition. If they see anyone attempting to show the gorilla a selfie or funny video, they will step in to dissuade them and explain the situation.
So he didn't even. I thought that maybe this was like a experiment. They gave him a phone to see if he would like pick up with it. But this is just from secondhand people showing him photos and videos, and now he's like waiting and
I'm sure they're coming up.
That's crazy.
How many pictures do you think has been taken of him posted online? If you're at the zoo and you see a gorilla,
every day, Jesus.
So this guy is just high on the dopamine rush he's getting from social media.
Wow, isn't that crazy that like they've made phones now so intuitive that literally a monkey can figure it out or like you know, is drawn to it and is becoming addicted.
And they just throw the phone up to him, and he's just on there. He just wants to double tap all these thought dogs out there on Instagram, and he's just pissed that he can't, and he's willing to sacrifice his own life for it.
He's just trying to see some thick buns. You know, you open the floodgates for this guy, and now he's just trying to hop on Instagram.
Yeah,
I feel bad for him.
I'm just wondering if PETA supports this move or not.
It'd be funny if like all of a sudden they gave him a phone. They're like, all right, just a couple minutes a day, and he's just in there just jerking off to porn the whole day. He's just like gorilla finds porn for the first time. He's like now won't associate with any of the other gorillas. Like, this stuff is too good.
He's just looking up zebra porn, and it's just
people just are watching, like they're coming to the zoo now, and they're like, oh, the zoo has gotten really gross.
Yeah, the zoo has really gone downhill, and it's just a bunch of gorillas just fucking whacking it. Just going to town.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Just from people showing their phone and pictures to the gorilla. That's so crazy.
Isn't
there something there is a famous gorilla in I don't know, one of the zoos or I don't know where they're at.
Harambe was shot and killed.
Harambe, R.I.P.
6 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago at this point.
People are still doing remembrances and
of Harambe. They go out with like some spray painted T-shirts of sunrise and sunset with his dates on.
Yeah, there's still a lot of commemorations of Harambe. I mean, he left a big impact, and
that was right around the time of Coney 2012. No, it was after that. It was definitely after Coney 2012, but. I love both of those movements equally.
Strange way for you to remember that. It was either before. This is how I divide up. How I remember things. Was it before or after Coney 2012?
It's 2012 being the year, but I only know of that because of Coney. That was the African warlord that had a bunch of children in an army. And he was a big inspiration to me.
Yeah, he had a good system set up. I think Steve Jobs stole that business plan.
You know what I saw on Steve Jobs today? Speaking of him. He was not known for taking vacations, but when he would go on vacation, he would consistently call members of his team 5 to 6 times a day to go over big picture ideas. And the top comment on this article blew me away because they said, wow, he was so full of all these different ideas. Not one of them was to let actual doctors treat his cancer. It's like,
did he not receive treatment for cancer? Like
he went a very holistic route. Wow. And he went into like some very weird and out there holistic, very Far East type of treatments for it. And I think So I think there's a quote out there that says towards the very end of his life, he said that he regretted not going traditional medicine route.
Wow.
I think it might have been treatable. I have no idea. He might have had a little bit long. I have no clue. It was pancreatic cancer, I believe. But it's just like that's the route he went. But it's like somebody that's that smart and that full of ideas is just like, yeah, no, I like those essential oils that my high school friend Becky messaged me on Facebook about.
It goes to show it's like you can be an extremely brilliant person, but sometimes it can be so narrowed down now, and you can still survive in life by just being extremely, extremely good at this one particular thing. Where back in the day, if you didn't know how to hunt or fish or like do those essential things, you were fucked and you were gonna die. But now, because the way that we live, you have all that stuff given to you, or like it's very easily accessible, so that you can, we have these crazy jobs that we've created for ourselves. And he was obviously a brilliant guy when it came to technology. But yeah, it's funny that you would expect such a brilliant guy to maybe
make a little bit of a better judgment,
know a little bit more about other smart shit.
I like to think that prehistoric southern New Jersey is just full of guys and wife beaters walking around asking people if they have a light.
Yeah.
Just wandering from empty parking lot to empty parking lot, just going, "Hey, boss, you got a light?"
Yeah, that's how New Jersey was founded.
Yeah, it was actually in the original Bill of Rights for the state of New Jersey. Is that it should?
They had to retract that from the record.
Yeah, they did retract it.
Who yelled out, "Do you need a light?" Take that out. That's not supposed to be.
That's not supposed to be in there. Damn it, the liberals taking over this state. I tell you what.
Steve Jobs. I heard he was like. I watched a documentary on him forever ago, and there was something in there where he was just eating fruit. That was the only thing he was eating.
Really?
Like, I guess he did funky stuff like that when it came to food and whatever.
What type of
Imagine just eating fruit. That can't be good for you.
What kind of fruit then causes pancreatic cancer?
Right.
Well, if there was any fruit that would, it would be a plum. I can say that for sure.
Really?
Plums.
What's your plight against plums?
I don't know. I grew up on Plum Drive, and
maybe that's it.
I think it's a little bit of stuff in the very back here of being made fun of for living in a fruit bowl with street names named after fruit.
I think that was just your classmates calling you a fruit, and you just...
I've twisted it. It's like, oh, it's because I live on... Is plum really a fruit or a vegetable?
Man, everyone's making fun of me for my street name.
It's like, hey, you fruitcake. It's like,
hey, old Callahan, the fruit. You're like, what, guys? What the fuck?
What's this? It's because of the street I live on.
And now it's a compliment. Let the record show that that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no.
Let the record show there's nothing wrong with that.
I only call people fruits if they are like it's women and men for me. And some of the most like endearing people in my life.
Careful.
I'm gonna get another toilet sound over my mouth.
Careful.
So it's one of the most.
See Dan toe in the line.
Yeah,
Careful.
It was a long-winded way of saying that just call my own grandparents fruits. So
well, that's because they were vegetables.
Yeah, that's because of a medical issue.
That was from that motorcycle accident.
Yeah, it's from my grandmom's Harley.
Wild.
She left the bar late one night on a Harley, and the rest is history.
No, to keep it on that somber note, genuine question for you when you think about Steve Jobs. So did he, and this is going to sound really stupid, but he, obviously invented all that stuff, started Apple, the company, but just fully was aware and like enforced child labor for the making of the Apple products in China, knew about it, was completely cool with it, and like helped run that operation, right?
Yeah, the kids have really nimble fingers.
Yeah.
Fingers.
And they have a literal suicide
nets outside the windows.
Outside of how is that obviously
conducive to a work environment? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you get pissed when you don't have a coffee machine at work. Imagine seeing suicide nets and be like, no, we have a great working environment here. Yeah. We have a great culture.
Yeah.
But so like he obviously had to have been there or visited there before, saw it, or like knew it was happening. Like not even if he didn't see it, like he obviously knew that was there. How can you continue
He was probably on vacation in like Venezuela or something, and he's like, "Hey, I saw that the latest suicide report came out of China, and it's saying that about 54% of our employees killed themselves via jumping out the window in office."
Overall, good progress from last year. We are down 10%.
We are down 10%. However, I'm a big idea guy.
Right.
I'm a big pictures.
I don't handle all the nitty gritty details.
I don't get my hands dirty with that type of stuff. I hang out with who I do. Sometimes I'll get, invitations to lavish parties with Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
It's all the Steens, really.
All the Steins.
I don't know if he was ever associated with either of those guys, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, it's crazy that almost like every single famous person who's accomplished something really great has also done some really horrific things. Yeah. Like Steve Jobs is still like he would be giving commencement addresses. He's still applauded and celebrated, and obviously he did some great things, but like that's completely overlooked. Nobody ever really brings that to light that often, except for you hear comics joke about it. But
yeah, there's been a lot of really great people who've just done some terrible things. Yeah. Like some of the latest movies Kevin James has put out.
Yeah.
I mean, great
guy who's done some
horrible things. I mean, did you see Zookeeper? This gorilla certainly did, and that's why he's trying to live vicariously.
Smartphone. Yeah,
he's trying to live vicariously through other people's smartphones.
Wow, that is a great point, dude. Kevin James is the GOAT, but does have some really dog shit.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of Liza Minnelli's work. I mean, we could just go down the all circles here with this.
Yeah,
really great people have done some really terrible. Who would you say? Like, I think Brad Paisley's up there for me.
What has he done?
He's just annoyed the living shit out of me with those country concerts in South Jersey. Actually, no, I think he's been doing them in South Philly over at the Link now, and it's too much for me to handle.
Well, those guys that would come to like Susquehanna Bank Center or Tweeter Center, however many times at BB&T Center, when we were in high school for those concerts, they started all the fake Hicks around us in South Jersey.
Oh yeah,
they were like, I've always been a country fan. I was born in a cowboy hat. Yeah, I grew up in Glassboro. You're like, what? Why? You're not country.
Yeah,
you're fucking.
They got the supersized pickup trucks that are diesel, and they got a Confederate flag hanging from them.
Exactly.
We're in South Jersey, not South Carolina.
I'm just a simple country boy. You're from Jersey.
Yeah, you're from Jersey. Here, your mom works at Jefferson.
Right. Exactly.
You live in Marlton.
Yeah.
Let's dial it back here.
Yeah. You grew up in the suburbs. You just found out about country music. You look like a dickhead in that hat. Yeah. Take it off.
Yeah, those boots cost you $200, and your parents drive Priuses. I don't know how country you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never hear a country singer singing about the love of their Prius.
No, I wish they
would.
Cold
beer, nice Prius, hot girl, banger in my Prius.
I can't.
Not enough room. Because it's a tiny vehicle? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you
pretty
soon.
Even
complete a country song.
I just saw the Ford, one of their pickup trucks coming out, newer ones. It's 2022 or 23 is going to be electric. So once they start getting all these electric pick-em-up trucks in the
electric.
Oh, there's going to be some mashups like crazy there, huh? It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a fun time for those guys down in Deptford going to the Red Robin at the Deptford Mall.
I'll tell you what, dude. I was just thinking about this because I was watching a documentary the other day. We should have a segment, a conspiracy segment, to talk about like conspiracy theories.
Yeah, and
we just have to talk like conspiracy guys the whole time. Like I watched this documentary, man, on the JFK assassination.
Yeah,
directed by Oliver Stone, man. Let me tell you something, man. I don't think that it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't think so, man. You got to look into that stuff, man. That's the thing, man.
Isn't that it's so funny with documentaries and docuseries on Netflix, because anybody that watched a documentary 15 years ago was a fucking loser.
Yeah.
And now all these people do is just watch. It's like, oh, did you see that documentary that's in a 4-part series about a president? It's like, I thought you were like a 22-year-old party guy, and now you're sitting at home watching a series on Netflix with the wife.
I'm unfortunately that guy now.
So am I. I did watch the John Wayne Gacy that series that just came out. Lovely.
What's the scoop with that, man?
John Wayne Gacy was a
lovely guy,
serial killer. Had the record for a long time. Like we just go through these like they're sports players. Yeah, his record stood up until that shooting in Denver, or what's it called?
That really jumped him up on the
you know, these guys compete. He was at 33, and he had issues where he would kill little boys, and it got pretty sexual and graphic.
Oh,
but they found 29 bodies under his house in his crawl space.
Oh.
And
he was
one of the largest serial killers at the time. There was a lot of unidentified corpses. All boys, yep. There were still a few unidentified bodies, and they even asked at the end of it that if you believe a loved one was a victim of John Wayne Gacy, all this happened in the 70s.
So I actually, I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know like the details of.
He doesn't get the mainstream attention that Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer get. It's kind of offensive.
He ugly or something?
He wasn't a very good-looking guy. He looked like a classic like South Jersey
Bundy,
dad.
They try to pretend as like this super hot guy. It's like guy had a unibrow.
Bundy was good looking for what he was doing. Yeah, because he lured in women and everything. This guy just looked like a slick back Italian greaseball.
So he had 20. I mean, killed more than that, but had 29 in his house.
Yeah.
Like, did they have any indication that it was him, or like people just were going missing? And then when they eventually found him, they were like, "Oh, it was all the same guy."
They tracked him down various different ways, but they eventually found out that it was him. I'm trying to think back. It was only 3 episodes. It really wasn't that in depth. Whoa. But
why was he doing it? Just like he doing what serial killers do.
Just doing what serial killers do, and then
boys being boys.
Just boys being boys.
God.
And I think he eventually admitted to all of it. He said he has no remorse for it. His last words were "kiss my ass," like a whole bunch of shit like that. He went out with a bang, and then some people refuted whether he actually said that or did that type of stuff. There was media hyping up a lot of things because once serial killers became a big thing, the media is just like, it was grabbing people's attention.
They're selling papers.
Yeah, that's what it was all about. And now you just don't get so many of these classic serial killers anymore.
No.
Times have changed, but the original thing with the documentary. I mean, wait, is that Oliver Stone JFK one available somewhere now?
I watched it on Showtime, and I think that there's an extended version that is going to be released soon, if not already. But I watched it on Showtime, and it was really good.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I got the Hulu. Maybe I'll see.
Check it out, man. You'll really learn some shit, man.
There's some stuff in there that the one person doing the documentary is going to spin your way, and they're not going to talk about the other side of it. Maybe they will in this one. JFK is one of my favorite.
It was really convincing. I mean, they completely only showed one side.
Well. Yeah, they purposely only showed one side from that Zapruder film. Right. There wasn't a 360 Monday Night Football replay on that coming in from over the top. No.
Oh yeah.
No. My favorite one attached to the JFK conspiracy though is the guy with the man with the umbrella. If you watch that at all,
describe it because I might.
He was one of the possible theories from the film that was taken from across the street going down as the guy makes impact. There was a guy standing there with an umbrella. They later found out they had him come in to testify in court for like the Warren Commission, I believe. And he brought the umbrella and they thought that like he was holding an umbrella, but it was able to fire bullets out of it.
Like something straight out of James Bond.
He was basically. And he was there and he said that he was doing it. It was a very weird protest where people would show up with like a black flag by a president. He was protesting some type of war that he was doing.
That doesn't actually sound that crazy.
No, it's not. Been a lot.
It was clearly the CIA that had some sort of involvement in killing JFK.
That and the mob they're dealing with.
So who knows what the CIA, could have done where if they had a little thing because they, out of the umbrella and just went a little silencer on it or something.
Just real quick, done and out. Done and out. No one saw a thing. They just wiped their hands clean.
I mean, that's not any crazier than the magic bullet theory of it going through like 3 people in different directions and then having the bullet perfectly intact. That's crazy. I would be much more inclined to believe the umbrella with the bullet theory than the magic bullet theory.
Yeah. And I think even with JFK up there, one of the craziest conspiracy theories that nobody talks about, or we need to make a documentary on this. Philadelphia cream cheese has never been made in Philadelphia. And they
That's
are pushing
facts.
That's not even a conspiracy, actually. This is just a fact, and it's just been weighing on my mind heavy.
That's facts, and it's been really bothering me.
Yeah, I've been reading Philadelphia cream cheese Wikipedia pages for far too long. And when the company started in the 1800s, they did it out of New York, but they used...
You really know a lot about cream cheese.
They used the Philadelphia name because Philadelphia was the dairy capital of the world at the time. And then ever since then, and they use the slogans like Philly this or Philly that.
Is that why we're all so fucking fat and
Because all we do
Philly?
that's all we do is just
we've been eating dairy for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Always our blood types are just fucking coated milk.
So, it's sick.
But yeah, we're gonna get to the bottom of that, and we're gonna try and I'm gonna slap a libel lawsuit.
We promise our viewers we will get to the bottom of the Philadelphia cream cheese situation.
Yeah, and if all 8 of you can just please filter in with, we need some petitions signed.
Yes,
petitions, comments. Venmo each of us. Venmo my sister. I owe her $58.
And if you have any friends that are interested in being a seller for Monat,
yeah. If you want to,
please,
I could give you the whole spiel, but the elevator pitch is that
it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation.
No losing.
There's no I'm just going to need an upfront investment of $1,200.
Just $1,200.
Just $1,200. Just to get the ball rolling. And then you'll have an inventory taking up your husband's garage all summer long,
and all you got to do is just hand it out, but then you get your friends, and then they get a couple more of their friends, they get more friends, and it's a win
all around, nothing but just partying. And this is how I have become in the top 330 Monat sellers in Camden County. So
out of 340.
Yep, roughly that. Me and Debbie from Laurel Springs are really going head to head on this.
Debbie can go.
Yeah, there's a few cheerleading moms over in Voorhees. I might go sabotage their driveway, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But hit us up. We're all for it. We're trying to make your life better through our ways of living. Be your own boss.
Yeah. That's what we love about Monet.
Yeah.
Monat. Is it Monat?
I don't even actually know, but we're going to tag them in this podcast.
You could be your own boss.
Can we do a separate podcast about multi-level marketing schemes?
Yes, that would be a great episode to go through, like all the main ones. Like when I was in college, it was Verve energy drink. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
It was the same sort of thing where I had so many kids in college try to get me involved in this. It was like an energy drink thing, but I remember they would get you to be like an ambassador. So they would send you all of these energy drinks that kind of tasted like shit. They were just like these bland energy drinks. And they're like, all you got to do is go, because I'm like, do I have to hand these out? Do you sell them? Like once you give us the inventory, they're like, no, you just got to get your friends. And like, they'll send then shipments of it. And then it's like a word of mouth thing. And I'm like, so all you're continuously doing is just signing up more people. It has nothing to do with handing out the products or anything. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, it's a pyramid scheme.
Jesus Christ.
That was all through college. And I have personal friends who might be listening that were involved in that. And some of them will still stand to this day and be like, it's a learning experience and blah, blah, blah. And I made some great money. I'm not denying that you might have made good money. My problem is you tried to get me involved in a fucking pyramid scheme, which I told you was a pyramid scheme, and you could have completely fucked me over. I'm glad that you made it out okay.
Oh,
but I have some friends that's their defense is they're like, I actually,
it's pretty lucrative for me.
Yeah, I got out when when it was good timing.
I know it took you for a lot of money for that, but I actually made out quite decent.
But you tried to get me involved in a scheme that I told you was a scheme.
I love how pyramid schemes are always their first upfront thing. It's just like, and by the way, we're not a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest sign that it is a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Just like you have to even say that.
Yeah, it's just like if you travel outside the Philadelphia area and you see a restaurant promoting that they have a Philly cheesesteak, it is not a Philly cheesesteak.
Right. Yeah, you've never seen a good business ever have to address whether or not they are a pyramid. If that is a staple of conversation for explaining what your business does is why you're not a pyramid scheme. You're a pyramid scheme.
Yep. And I've had to tell this to all the Girl Scout companies and local troops that have come after me since I baked my own Girl Scout.
Those are the biggest culprits.
Yeah. They are scam
Get me
artists.
every year with...
Yeah, now they're set up outside of the dispensaries
Samoas.
around here.
Yeah.
Damn
Samoas.
kids. Oh, you going to do about these kids just being raised in southern New Jersey? But yeah, let us know. Let us know. We got to hit the road here and get out to some of these places, figure out where we do a live podcast from. And
yeah, let us know what South Jersey topics you might want us to address, because we would love to hear them.
You know, it should be like a town and a topic. Give us a town and a topic.
Yes, and we can discuss our experiences with it.
Yeah.
And we should say email southjerseybadboys@gmail.com.
Yeah.
With these questions.
southjerseybadboys@gmail.com. And
should we say it together?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
southjerseybadboys@gmail.com. Yeah, that's where you hit us up at. And we're going to do some towns and topics, special little segment, little special South Jersey segment.
It's getting naughty with the segment.
First one we're going to do is over in Collingswood and go up and down the street and we see John Montag outside raking some leaves or something.
That fucking piece of shit with his nice home and family.
Yeah. What an asshole.
Oh, hey, John. Guess looks like you're having a great day.
Yeah, check out the Handsome Idiots. We'll have them on here as well.
Oh, yeah. We got to do a cross-promotion podcast.
Crossing streams.
Yeah, we got to cross some streams with the Handsome Idiots. Show them who's really handsome and who's really idiots.
Openly hot. We're here to say
We've always been openly hot. We've said that to the world.
2 episodes in a row, and it's going to be an episode thing.
Openly hot guys.
Yeah.
And we are not going to apologize for that.
No, we are not. Don't come at us about Photoshop accusations. Accusations about other crimes that we've been involved in, is according to so and so.
That has nothing
pyramid
to do with
schemes.
Us being openly hot.
Yeah, openly hot doesn't mean we sell products that quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, we just usually have to do a little persuasion, and most of the persuasion is a little more on the extortion side, but that has nothing to do with the hotness of this podcast.
No, just 2 hot guys, just
two hot guys,
hot stuff.
Just wearing Philly shirts with other grown men's names on their back. Yeah, that's how we do it here.
This actually just says firefighter. It's not even a Philly shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but hey, it's red.
To each our own. We're both just a couple of.
It sends the same message.
Sends the same
Go
message.
Phils.
Yeah. Go Phils. Phils and 7.